Okay, unlike many of my other guides, this is more of a generic video and not so much just about Kodi. This will go through how to use GitHub and GitHub Desktop to create your own repository and make commits and push to the repository online. We'll also go through how to delete your own repo. If you are interested more in the Kodi aspects of things, then I highly recommend watching the 1 hour intensive course video I've done on becoming a developer, which goes through most of these things in far greater detail and will explain more about how they interact with Kodi. So I'd highly recommend watching that first if you're planning on using this as a guide for becoming a Kodi developer. Okay, the first thing you need to do is head on over to github.com, and if you've not already registered, get yourself signed up. It's free and easy to do. And then once you're signed up, log in and go to your home page. If you ever need to find your home page, you can see mine there is github.com/totalrevolution, which is my username. So yours will be the same. It'd be github.com/whatever your username is. But if you ever need to get back there, just click on the little icon in the top right corner, and your profile, that will always take you back to the start here. Now on this page you can see a number of repositories down here. These are ones that I've recently contributed to, and if you that one there, it says repositories 7. That's got the full list of all the repositories that I contribute to. First thing we're going to want to do is create a new repository. So if you've only just signed up to GitHub, you're not going to have all of this information here. It will most likely be a blank page. So click on the little plus icon there, and you want new repository. So give your repository a name. So I'm going to call it test repo. The description is optional. I'm actually going to skip that. I'm not going to bother with a description. That's entirely up to you if you want that or not. Public or private. Now if you're using this for Kodi, you're going to need public. That's the free one. It means anyone can view your repository. You can't hide stuff with the public one. It is all open to the public. Private, as the name might suggest, it allows you for private repo access. You do have to pay for that. I believe it's a monthly fee of around $8 if I recall correctly. If you are after a private repository and you're not keen on paying a monthly fee and using the other features that come with the paid subscription with GitHub, then you may want to look at Bitbucket. I believe they still offer a free solution for private repos. Okay, so public, and we may as well add a license as well while we're at it. So this will basically just put a license file inside your repository, and that covers you then for all work done on your repository. Will be covered under this license. So we're just going to go with a popular one like the GNU public General Public License 3.0. We'll stick with that one. That's what a lot of Kodi developers use. It's very open. Means people can sort of fork your work and do what they want with it, basically, as long as they stick by basic ethics. Okay, so we're going to create that repository now, and that's going to create our repository online. So this is our repository. You can see there, Total Revolution /test repo, and it's just got the one file in there at the moment, our initial commit, which was that license. Now this is the only time you're going to be using the actual website itself to commit code. That initial commit there is done by the website itself, GitHub. Now that's got everything we need. What you will now need is, if you're a beginner, I would recommend getting the GitHub desktop app. You can download that from here, from GitHub page. If you're more advanced, then obviously you may want to use the command line. But I'm in this guide. I'm just going to be using the GitHub desktop app to commit and clone and push our work. So this repository here, this test repo we've created, we just need to click on the clone or download button, and we could download it as a zip, but we don't want to in this case. We want to open in the desktop, so that's going to open our app hopefully. There we go. Okay, so this is the GitHub desktop app. Very simple to use. The URL section it takes you to straight away, so it gives you the URL of your repo, okay, and then it just asks you where you want to store it. Now, because I've already set up some repositories in here, it's not the default location. I believe, if I remember rightly, I believe the default location is in your documents folder. Now you can click on choose and change that to some other location if you wish. The only reason I choose not to have it in my documents folder is I regularly have a purge in there and clear out any old files, and accidentally I quite often delete files like GitHub folders that are actually needed. So I've put it somewhere a little safer than that for me, out of the documents folder, but you can put it wherever you like. Click on clone, and that's the first process done. We now have our own repository, and we have it cloned in our desktop. Okay, so you can see it here. If this is your first time you've done it, that'll be the only repo you can see on the left there. We're going to click on that, and you can see there's nothing going on there. If we click on history, it shows our very first commit, which is what the website done for us. That was the license. It uploaded that license, so you can see it's just one file in there. If you click on that bit where it says current repository, it will list all your repositories. Now we can right click on there and open in Finder. I'm using Mac operating system. If you're using Windows, it will, I believe it says something like open in Windows Explorer, or words to that effect. The other way you can access it is if we click on that repo, we can click on the repository link at the top and show in Finder. Again, on Windows it will say something slightly different like Windows Explorer. Okay, here we go. Now, this is our GitHub repo. This is the contents of that repo. This is what we have locally. So it's cloned everything that was on there, which just happens to be that license, and there's a hidden Git folder there, which we don't need to worry about. Next thing we want to do is we're going to want to add some content to that. So let's head on over to totalrevolution.tv. I'm going to use for this example, but you know, you can put anything you want on there. If we click on the tutorials section, we've got some files in here that make it easy to quickly create Kodi add-ons. Again, if you're not using this for Kodi, then you can sort of skip this section here. So first of all, I'm just going to get the repository file. I'm going to call it test repo. It has to match exactly as whatever you called your repo, and the username has to match the username as well. So Total Revolution, and I'm going to click submit. I'm just going to skip through this very, very quickly. I'm going to download that, save that. Yeah, I'm going to skip through this really quickly just because this is all covered fully in the 1 hour intensive Become a Developer guide that I've done. So if you're interested in this part of it, the Kodi part of it, please, I would really urge you to watch that, because it fully explains how Kodi uses repos. It explains the terminology and how to get all this set up. So the XML generator, we'll save that, and we also want, we may as well download the add-on as well. And download that. Okay. Now let's go to our downloads folder. I believe I've got it there. Yep. So these are the files that I downloaded. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract the zips There's that one. And I'm just going to copy one of them over for now, and also that repo XML generator file. Now again, these are only required for Kodi. If you're using this for, oops, let's copy that. If you're using this for something else, you will not need these two files. You just need to put in this repository whatever you want on there. Okay. Now, as we're using this for Kodi, we need to run this. So we'll open that with, oops, IDLE. And we shall run that file, and then that will create a new folder with some new files in. Brilliant. Okay, so that's created the zip folder and everything like that in there. We should have another folder and some files. Yes, perfect. Right, so that's populated with some content now. Go back to your GitHub desktop, and automatically you can see all these files that have been added down here. You can click on them. It shows you what's inside them, any changes that have been made, etc. So this is our first real push. All you need to do is click in the summary box, and we're going to do something like initial repo upload, and I'm just going to leave the description blank, but the summary you can't leave blank. You need to put something in the summary, and then you click the commit to master. So this tells it that okay, we're ready to send that online now. However, at this stage it's still not been sent online. It's still only local, and we can still undo that if we wanted. But we're ready to push this, so we click this push button at the top, push origin. That only appears once you've clicked the commit button. Until you click the commit button, I believe it says fetch origin. Okay, so we push that. And hopefully it shouldn't take too long. There we go. Right, that's been done. As you can see, this box is now back, the commit to master box and all that. And changes, there's 0 changes. But if we click on history, we should now see that we've got that initial commit, which was the license, and now, just now, we've got all these ones that have been added. Perfect. We've just pushed to the repo. That's exactly what we wanted. And if we can double check that, if we go online, it should also be on there as well. Test repo. There you go. All the files are now there. Right, step 2. Let's go into, let's see how we add more content. Now this is very important, this next bit, really, really important. Click on your desktop app, and always, before adding anything locally to this repo, always click the fetch origin button. Now the reason for that is, let's imagine you're using 2 different computers. You may have done the last push on a different computer, and this computer you're using, it's still got older files on. It's not been updated with what's currently what the current repo is. So by clicking the fetch origin, it pulls in everything off of the current state of the repo and pulls it in locally. Always make sure you do that before making any kind of changes locally to that repository, and then make sure you're on the right base. Otherwise, if you end up trying to push and your repo is completely different to the one online, you're going to run into problems. So you really want to try not to do that. So we've clicked that. It doesn't really matter in this case because we know we've just pushed it and we know ours is already up to date, but you should always get into the habit of clicking that. It's not going to do any harm. The other reason you would want to do that as well is if you've got people collaborating on this project, they may have pushed, you may not know they've pushed updates, so you need to pull all those in. You need to make sure that you've always got those pulled in before adding whatever you're going to add. So, right, we want to add some content now. So let's go back to our folder. So this is our repo just here, and I'm going to add that one there, plugin video my add-on. And again, because this is Kodi, we're just going to run this file again as well. As I say, watch that 1 hour intensive development course that I've done if you're interested in the Kodi side of things, as that goes into much greater detail on what these things do and why you need to do them. Okay, so that should have changed some files for us now. Let's go back in there. Look, this is great. This is what we want to see. So all the green pluses, that's all new content that's going to be added. The yellow ones are things that have changed. So if we click on that one, for example, the add-on is XML MD5, that repo generator that I run, that changed this MD5 file. So the red is what it was, the green is what it is now. So if you had bigger documents than just one line, it would show big sort of differences of exactly what's changed, which can be very, very useful. Right, so we've got everything in there. Let's just put a summary in there. So pushed test add-on, and we'll add a description as well this time. Push the initial test add-on, and again it's just a case of clicking commit to master, and it's the same process as before. Push to origin. Now there are plenty of other features you can use, such as branching. I'm not going to go into that here because we went into that in quite some detail in that development course I mentioned. If you're interested in that, please view that. Branching is very useful. As I say, I'm not going to go into that here because I want to keep it short as possible. So we just double check that repo, make sure that was all pushed correctly. Let's refresh that page. Yes, it has. Now, final thing I'm going to go into now is, what if we want to delete this repo? We no longer want it. It's done with. Okay. Now, let's start from the start page. So you've got your repos. So what you want to do is find your repo that you want to delete. Be very careful to pick the right one. So we'll click on that one there, repositories, and there you go. It lists all the repositories I'm involved in. So the top one happens to be. So we click on test repo, and in this settings button here, so not the settings button you find in here, we don't want that one because that's global settings. We want this settings button here, which relates to this here, so this repo. Click on that settings button, and in the options section, which you're already in, go all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see there's the option to delete the repository. Similarly, you can archive the repo so it's read only. You can transfer ownership, so you can hand that over to someone else if you no longer want to be involved in it. And if you've got a paid plan, you can make it private. We're just going to do the delete repository one, but all of these are exactly the same process. You click the button and it will ask for confirmation. So what you have to do is type in your username and the repo. So there you go, Total Revolution /test repo, and then it will allow you to press that button. I understand the consequences, delete this repository. As soon as we do that, everything will be deleted online. It will be deleted online. Let's go back to our local machine, and what we find is, look, it's still there. Oops, sorry, wrong one. It's still there because we've only deleted it online, to be honest. The history is, history is still there. Yeah, it's all still there. What we would need to do, if you want to clear that up on your local folder, obviously just let's go to our list of repos. If you right click on it, you can do remove. Are you sure you want to remove it? It's gone from there. And then also, where are we? you may also want to delete this actual repository folder as well. Entirely up to you. So that's it. I hope that's been of some use to somebody at least. And if you need any help and support with this, we've now got a dedicated forum up for the Python coding framework, and you can find that at totalrevolution.tv. And it's /forum. If you click on the tutorials section, there's a link here that takes you straight there. So totalrevolution.tv/forum, and we've got a dedicated forum for the Python coding framework. By all means, feel free to post up any comments on YouTube, but it isn't really monitored very regularly, so your questions may not get answered for quite some time, if at all. You're always best posting up on the forum. Okay, take care, people, and speak soon.